also live, so I still can't edit in Mr. Humphrey saying I'm free. And I am back at the Margate jetty. Let's just switch that camera around. There you go, same place I was at yesterday if you saw my live stream. And as you can see, it is getting very close to sunrise over there. And that lovely pinky colour under the clouds showing that the sun is beneath the clouds and streaming up onto the underside of them. Yes, magic refraction or whatever it is, flat earthers can't explain that. Well, thank you for joining me. Although at the moment there's no one joining me. Only a couple of people managed to catch my live stream live yesterday. Oh, I've got one person on, that's fantastic. I don't expect a lot of response to this or a lot of engagement. It's really only just a little bit of fun. So if you don't know what this is all about, this is a follow-up on Flatzoid's failure to capture the sunrise at Margate, South Africa during his holiday in middle of December last year. So I've come to Margate to film the sunrise here, and also yesterday I made a prediction of where and when I was going to see the sunrise from this point on the globe. Now, of course, I'm not in Margate, South Africa. That would have been awesome. And the idea of renting the same holiday apartment that Flatzoid rented and took his family to, and filming the sunrise 1 year later would have just been amazing. But frankly, that's a lot of effort for a joke. As it was, coming down here for this little joke, really wasn't too much of an effort. A little bit of fun on my part. Now I will set up the camera actually, because we're expecting the sunrise to be in about 7 or 8 minutes. Unfortunately, there is some land in the way. I didn't even think about checking this before I decided to come down here and do this. And well, fortunately, my prediction is that the sun will rise at a point where the land is fairly low in the distance. So it's still going to be a few minutes after the predicted sunrise time at the horizon before it actually peaks over the little hills that are in the way. Now, my prediction, if you watched my prediction video, my prediction was based on Petey's GeoGebra project, which was actually pretty awesome. Just based on some basic geometry of the globe and the distance to the sun, size of the Earth, and my eyebrow is going crazy there, and just a little bit of a minor corrections for refraction and for the angular diameter of the sun. Pretty basic geometry, and came up with an answer which matched the answers that places like Sun, Calc and Time and Date have for the sunrise position, and also the sunrise time. So quite fantastic. That Petey's basic geometry came up with an accurate answer. Proof that, well, sure, the map is not the model, but if the model matches reality, that says a lot about what reality is like. So now, I've made the prediction now, and you notice I did make a mistake in the way I was correcting the magnetic declination. So my prediction is for a true direction of about 110 degrees. I added the declination instead of subtracting it, and I corrected myself. So the actual magnetic direction here should be around about 100, 102 degrees. Not going to be too accurate about that, partly because the sun's going to rise behind some land, and therefore it's going to shift a little bit to the side by the time we see it. So turn the camera around, and oh, this is going to be fun. The compass there is set on, I'm going to do a little bit of set on about 102 degrees. Now I was going to set the tripod up and have this sitting there the whole time, but it won't rotate the screen, unfortunately. So I am going to have to hold this by hand, and you're just going to have to trust me that the direction the compass is pointing is just around about where that mast is on the red ship, maybe a tiny little bit to the left of it. Again, because of the land in the way, the sun will rise diagonally up to the left, as it does in the southern hemisphere. By a little bit, it'll take a few minutes to peek its way over that. So unfortunately you're going to have to put up with me holding this and shaking around, but not crazy shaking around like a flat earther holding a P1000 fully zoomed in. Now, I did have a little bit of a response and a couple of predictions from people to my live stream and my prediction video that I released not that long ago, only about 6 or 7 hours ago, I think. Now, firstly, the first prediction was a pretty basic one from someone called Koalina. Sorry if I got that wrong. Who just gave a basic thing of it's going to be somewhere between 4 and 5 AM. Now, right here now it is 5:33 a.m. Now, this Koalana, whatever your name is, I'm sorry. You are kind of right. You may not have factored in that locally here we are in daylight savings, so that's why we can correct your prediction to mean somewhere between 5 and 6 a.m. I hope, which is, that's a rough answer, and it's in that range. So well done. Who else have we had? Well, Zorg has said quite rightly that it depends which way you stand, man. Exactly. Apparently east depends on which way you stand. I'm facing roughly south-southeast at the moment, so that makes south-southeast to the south-southeast. So I hope I've got that right, Zorg. Send in the Clowns said that their prediction would be that no flatty would make a prediction. Well, no flatty has made a prediction. I don't believe any of the people who did are flatties. So I think you got that right. Send in the Clowns. Actually, I haven't had any engagement here from flatties. Flatslide I don't think has made any engagement to this at all. Mind you, he also hasn't made any engagement to the community post I made a few days ago showing the observations of a Cavendish experiment and asking him to explain how the oscillation shifts when the masses are moved closer to the masses on the torsion beam. Yes, he doesn't engage in things when he doesn't want to. What else do we have? Well, Petey has said he was going to pull out his GeoGebra file and make a prediction based on that, but he then saw the video that where I had pulled out his GeoGebra project and made the prediction based on that, so he didn't bother. Petey, thank you again for such an amazingly simple bit of geometry, but a great tool there that enabled me to make a prediction based just on geometry, not on any other sort of resource like repeating patterns and things like that. And thank you also, Petey, for managing to include Hobart as one of the locations that you have in your GeoGebra project. Hobart is 10 or 20 kilometres away from where I am at the moment, so that was good enough for my prediction here. Petey also says he included Margate, South Africa, as one of his positions available in that file. I didn't look at that, I didn't realise that, but that's good on you. Great troll there, Petey. Thank you for making that wonderful project. And lastly, Where's Wally has made a prediction. Now he used Sunkelk to get a direction of about 116 degrees. Sunkelk says the sunrise will be in, and he correctly found out also, I'm not sure where from, that the magnetic declination at this place is around about 15.5 degrees, and he added that to give 130. And actually no, he first subtracted it to give 101 and then put an edit in and say you should have added it and got 132. And that's the mistake I made when my prediction video. I am quite used to dealing with magnetic declination, but often in the other directions, and I didn't think about it enough, and then later on I realised, hang on, I've done it the wrong way. And I think, Wally, you've done it the wrong way. So, but you realise that the magnetic declination has to be taken into account, and you've just done it in the wrong direction, and that's fair enough if you're not used to dealing with magnetic to true directions. Well, I'll give you half a point for that one, Wally, and thank you for making a prediction. We are at 5:37 a.m, which is, give or take a minute, is about the time that the sun is supposed to be rising. The little pink undersides of the clouds has disappeared. There is some, I can see there is some cloud on the horizon down pretty low, so it's possible we're not getting some direct sunlight at the moment. I've just had someone turn up here. Hopefully they don't get too interested in this. To be honest, I was a little bit nervous about doing this and being out in public and talking to my phone for 10 or 15 minutes yesterday, and hopefully they don't have any interest in doing what I'm doing here. There's no one else down here on this little jetty. There's only a couple of fishing boats around. So a couple more minutes, I'd imagine, maybe 5 minutes at the most, until the sun peaks its way over that hill behind the mast of that red ship. So I'm going to have to just fill in the time by talking for a little bit. Let's see. Question no one's ever asked me is, why do I use Mr. Humphries as my avatar picture? No reason at all. There you go. Why do I use I'm Free when I start my videos? Just because I happen to have Mr. Humphries as my avatar picture. Why do I have the name Eduardo Egarisu6 as my debunking channel name? I think many of you know it. It's due to Flatsoid censorship. I went through about 20 or 30 channels on Flatzoid's channel, through 20 or 30 accounts on his channel before the time that hang on, I'm going to put this down so it stops shaking a little bit. My hands are a little bit cold. It's about 13 degrees in scientific units. I have no idea what that is in freedom units. So my hands are getting a little bit chilly. Hello Crypto Roast, hello Hold My Pocket. Nice to see you on the live stream. 7 people watching at the moment. Amazing. Oh, Flatzoid. Hello Flatzoid. Flatzoid is watching. 30 stock accounts, yes, obsessed much. No Flatzoid. Trying to get the truth out and you want to censor me. That's the argument you made about your video the other day that keeps getting taken down by YouTube because of the objectionable content. Margate is nice. Well, this Margate is also quite nice. The beach isn't quite as nice here as the Margate in South Africa. You haven't seen it. Oh, tide is in. So the beach there is pretty rocky and very short. Not the sort of place you go and sit on a towel and sunbathe, to be honest. But yes, hello Flatzoid. Thank you for joining me. In fact, it's great to see you here. To see the sunrise as predicted by globe geometry. Now, what else can I talk about for a few more minutes while the sun, unfortunately there's still a bit of cloud there before the sun peeks over. This area of the world is rather appropriately for the sort of observation I'm doing here and the time that I'm here coming up to the final experiment. This part of the world has a pretty strong connection to Antarctica. It is Australia's gateway to Antarctica. In fact, tomorrow, the Australian icebreaker ship, the government icebreaker ship, the Nina, is expected to arrive back in port after visiting 2 of the Australian research stations on the Antarctic coast. It's planned to do there's a second voyage, a resupply voyage. Oh, we've got a pelican coming across. It's going to do a second voyage this Antarctic summer. And yeah, it'll be interesting if I'm in the right place at the right time tomorrow, I will hopefully get a picture of that ship coming in. Flatsoy says in the comments here, globe geometry, ha ha ha, you mean coordinate systems? No, nothing to do with coordinate systems. Petey's GeoGebra project is just based on the geometry of a sphere of a certain size being located at a certain location on a sphere that's a certain size, and the light source, the sun, being a certain distance away at a certain angle to a certain location in relation to your location on the sphere. It's pretty simple as that. A pelican crossing. Very good, Petey. Yes. The Port of Hobart also, besides the Nagina, which comes in and out a couple of times every summer, resupplying the Australian Antarctic bases. A lot of private trips come from based through Hobart. Back in the golden age of Antarctic exploration, Mawson, for example, Douglas Mawson, pretty famous in Australia for his exploration, based out of Hobart, being the sort of most southerly port and major city in Australia. The Australian Antarctic Division is also located about 10 kilometres from where I am, just on the outskirts of Hobart. The Australian Antarctic Division also operates some aircraft. They operate an Airbus 319 out of Launceston, which is in the north of Tasmania, and that flies quite a number of trips every summer, Antarctic summer, to resupply, because you can get there in about, I think it's about 3.5 to 4 hours, so relatively quick compared to sending the ship down, but of course the ship can take much heavier things. And the Australian Antarctic Division also, I believe, charter it's a C-19 Globemaster to do a couple of trips every summer as well. I think that has even larger cargo capacity, and that runs out of Avalon Airport, I believe, which is just outside of Melbourne. Again, 4 to 5 hour trip, so quite easily done by a large passenger aircraft or a large cargo aircraft. The sun is probably getting close. We're now about 8 minutes or so after the sun was supposed to appear at the horizon, and so it's getting very close. There is some cloud there. I can't zoom in, unfortunately. YouTube won't let me zoom my camera while I'm on a live. I don't think it will. Oh yes, it does. I'm sorry, there we go. So now you're going to put up with a little bit more wobbling. So it has Flatzoid left? I don't know. Oh yes. Anyway, thanks Flatzoid. Oh, hello Vipe. Yes, Vipe and I've forgotten who else, I'm sorry, have been making some great songs using AI about Flatzoid. It's a really good one. flats with the Ginger, I think, was the one that I've been playing over and over again lately. Quite amusing stuff. Well, I don't know what else I'll talk about, but it should appear over the horizon very, very soon. And again, confirming that we are, where is our compass? That it is pointing at about 102 degrees there, which is as predicted by globe geometry. So again, this was just nice flowers. It's canola, it's just growing wild. It's blown away from a farm somewhere. It just it pops up everywhere. So this was just a little bit of fun. The only reason I'm doing it is that I just happened to notice that there's a place in Tasmania called Margate that's on the coast, although it's a sheltered inland coast. And I thought, oh great, I can go and film a sunrise from there, just for a joke. And that's why I got up at a fairly stupid hour this morning and drove down here. And currently my hands are getting quite cold in the breeze, just to make a silly joke. Now that sun is starting to peak up over there. It looks there any minute now. Now I could have been a couple of degrees off from the direction that I predicted. The compass is only right to within 1 or 2 degrees. They don't guarantee that they're perfect, but basically it was based off globe geometry, and I got the right answer after realising my mistake about the magnetic declination correction. Okay. Mark Michalowski in comments, there's a Margate in the UK. Is it law that every country has to have their own Margate? Well, possibly countries that are settled by the British have a Margate. Margate in the UK is a great place to watch the sunrise. It's out at the mouth of the Thames, so you could get, at this point of the year, you could definitely get a sunrise there. There is another Margate in Queensland, Australia. It's a suburb of Brisbane, and it also has is on the coast and has an easterly view. So we could also get a sunrise there, all on the same day. Right. This is Margate in Tasmania, Australia. And I'll just fill in a bit of another talk about one of the things that I find quite surprising, not surprising really actually, amazing, that the denial in the flat earthers is the fact that as you come south, the way that the length of day changes is exactly what happens if you go north of the equator. If you start at the equator, the day length is 12 hours. The day length is 12 hours all year round. It barely changes by anything. And as you get out of the tropics, you then start to get a difference between summer day length and winter day length. And the further south you go, just like the further north you go, the days in winter get shorter and the days in summer get longer. I didn't bother looking it up before here, but I think down about here, we're at about 43 south, you get to about, I think, about 14 hours daylight in summer, something like that. Yeah, so daytime in summer. I think we're all might be well aware that down at the bottom of South America in Ushuaia and Punta Arenas, in summer they get about 17 hours, I think it is, of day length. The sun is just peaking up, and where is that mast? That mast is there. It's just coming over the hills. That is any minute now. That is going to blow out the camera. And so as you go further and further south, you know, at the summer solstice, December solstice, the days get longer and longer and longer. So eventually, you know, at the farthest south in any main landmass, being South America, it gets to about 17 hours. Stands to reason that as you keep going further south, it gets longer and longer and longer, and eventually you get to the point where, just like in the north, when you get to about 66.5 south, you get to the point where on the summer solstice, you get complete daylight and the sun doesn't set. Now, interesting, Australia has 4 Antarctic bases. One is on the sub-Antarctic island of Macquarie Island, which is just a little bit off the south of New Zealand. But the other 3 bases are on the Antarctic coast, and they are all, one of them is only just outside the Antarctic Circle, the other 2 are just inside the Antarctic Circle by a degree or so. And so there are people, there are people on the New Year ship that are coming back into port, and people who will go out onto it on its next voyage, who, the Australian Antarctic bases are manned all year round because they aren't, well within the circle. And so there are people who are coming in on that ship or going out on that ship who will experience near 24-hour sun when they are there, or maybe will just experience full 24-hour sun and full 24-hour night time at some point during their time in Antarctica. Interesting also, the 3 bases, or actually all 4 bases in Antarctica maintain webcams. They don't have a live feed, again it's a bandwidth thing. There's more important data to be transmitting, but they do update a picture. I think it's every 3 minutes. They send it to the Antarctic Division headquarters here in Kingston, and there is I believe it's a continuously updating loop based on those 3-minute pictures as a video, which covers, I think it's about a 2-day long loop. And every time they get some new pictures in, they throw out the oldest ones and update the loop. And so at the moment, some of those bases are experiencing very close to 24-hour sunlight. And so it's actually worth looking at that. I'll probably provide a link to some of those for the flatties who want to think that it's all fake. There's some good videos at the moment. Of course, the sun does actually set at these bases at the moment, but only just. And you can see on some of them that when the sun goes around past the camera, it's going at a very shallow angle. Certainly nothing like you'd experience here, where it sets and rises at a fairly diagonal angle. And you have to deal with clouds and blizzards and whatever coming across. So it's not perfect, but you can see the shadows doing circles over the course of 2 days. And for part of the day, it's a little bit dark, like twilight, and of course sometimes there's cloud, but sometimes there's quite clear shadows going around and around and around. So yes, in the next few weeks, as we come up to the December solstice, some of those cameras, I think there's particularly one at Casey, I'm sorry I don't remember which particular station, but yeah, I think it's Casey it's the most within the Antarctic Circle, that will show the sun. Whilst it points in one direction, it'll show, hopefully, if they've got clear weather, it'll show shadows going around in full circles completely. Without being interrupted by it going dark. There's also another great video from I've forgotten his name. The guy who does the time lapses down at the South Pole base, which is showing construction of some of the Amundsen base. Now it's a few years old. Some construction going on for days at a time, and watching the shadows just doing circles and circles and circles around. You don't see the sun very much, but the shadows are going around and around and around. And how do flatties explain it? Well, it can't be going in reverse because they're constructing, it's footage of constructing a new building. So obviously they're putting the building up, they're not taking the building down. Well, the sun is now definitely coming over there. And it's probably time for me to, I've been going for 25 minutes, so it's probably time for me to wrap this up. Just have a bit of a quick look through comments. See if there's anything going. Oh, yep, Sean Hawkins here, hold my pocket, it's here. Great, thank you. Got 12 watching at the moment. Thank you very much for joining me. I'm going to probably wrap this up now and say here we are at Margate watching the sunrise at the globe predicted time and the globe predicted direction. Something that TheZorg couldn't manage to do. I don't know what he either decided that he wasn't going to actually film the sunrise at Margate, or he was just too incompetent and woke up late, because that second sunrise video that he claims doesn't show the sun at sunrise, it shows the sun well in the sky. Yeah, we all know TheZorg is incompetent and a liar. I'm sure you'll watch this again, TheZorg, and criticise me for calling you that. So thank you very much for joining me. Here I am, feeling a tiny bit cold. And that's it. I might have some more stuff from this trip, especially to do with Antarctica. If I happen to catch the Nyina coming into port, I'd be interested in that. Maybe I should go and interview some people and ask them if they've seen the 24-hour sun, or, well, in this case, they won't have, but they would have been close to, or whether they've been to Antarctica before and seen 24-hour sun. And just wondering how all those people can be convinced, all these scientists and just ordinary people doing, things like, trade jobs in Antarctica, how they're all being convinced to lie about what they've seen. So I will finish that now. Thank you very much for joining me. Thank you for those that engaged and made some predictions about when the sunrise would be. It's been just a little bit of a fun thing. See you later. Andrew out.